Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the PdBA Lisboa online talk. I'm Lia Carreira. I'm the curator and project manager of the project Palácio de Belas Artes Lisboa. We call it PdBA for short, and we are an independent curatorial and artistic project that through our online platform, we host online exhibitions, public talks, workshops, and residencies both in Lisbon and at international level. We invite artists, curators, and a whole set of creatives to reimagine other possible relationships with the physical space through the digital. We focus on a particular palace, it's Palacio Iglesias, also known as the Palacio de Belas Artes. That's where we take our name from. But I won't talk about the Palacio because we've talked about it quite a few times in previous talks, and you can also check out the history of this Palacio in our platform. And I also invite you to browse through our channels for a more in-depth description. For our 2024 and 2025 program, we hosted a series of activities on the topic of digital spatiality. So we focus very specifically on this relationship between the physical and the digital space. And I invite you also to see all the previous talks on our YouTube channel. It's also available on this topic. And for 2026, we then extended this discussion and included the topic invisible infrastructure. We then discuss the infrastructures that underpin and challenge not only this Palacio, which is our focus of our investigation, of course, but the entire social, cultural, and economic apparatus linked to the creation, development, conservation, and promotion of national cultural heritage. So by infrastructure, we're not only focusing on the physical apparatus, that form the basis of these operations, like equipment, facilities, or technology, and so on, but also the communities behind it, the networks of action, support, and also affection. So when we talk about invisibility, it's about both their digital and virtual nature, but also about other senses that work along as a symbiotic relationship with the visual when we experience these spaces and these networks. We also want to bring forth those practices and agents that are working behind the curtains, behind the scenes, which is more of the purpose of today's talk. Today's session is entitled Cultural Heritage and Digital Preservation Practices, to which we invited digital heritage specialist Leticia Crespillo from Spain, but she's in Porto right now at the moment. She'll explain a little bit more to present the potential and challenges of digital practices for the documentation preservation of tangible cultural heritage. Leticia is a specialist in digital heritage, immersive technologies, and multimodal museography. It sounds very, very nice. With a research focus on accessibility, perception, and intangible heritage. She has a PhD in art history from the University of Málaga, and where I believe she is an assistant professor, correct me if I'm wrong, Leticia. She's also a postgraduate coordinator in VR and AR applied to heritage at UNED and co-principal investigator of International Digital Heritage Project. To start our conversation, I had posed already a few questions to Leticia beforehand. She prepared a very nice presentation for us, a very detailed presentation. I asked her about the differences between preservation, conservation, and documentation. Also, the differences between preservation as a traditionally conducted, and what the digital entails and their potentials and challenges. I also asked her to tell us a little bit more about the process of working with digital preservation, and also about specific projects that she's working on in Portugal. So she'll present a little bit about that as well. That said, I would welcome our guest today. So hi, Leticia, welcome to our online talk. Say hello, and now the floor is yours. So on my
Hi,
yeah.
hi from Porto. How are you? Fine?
Yes, excited. Thank you very much for joining us. Um, yes, so go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to share my presentation. I'm going to start with this session. Um, okay, I'm going to put that here.
In the meantime, I'll just tell people if they want to pose any questions throughout the presentation, go ahead through the chat. Probably we have a period at the end to read the questions and answer. So feel free to pose them in the chat.
Okay, but first of all, I want to thank you very much for the invitation, Leah. I'm very happy to share this project with you. And the image you are seeing already anticipate the core idea of this presentation, a reconstructed environment that emerged from documentation but remains grounded in conservation logic. Okay, if you want to start question me something, you can. I'm going to answer you with the presentation.
Perfect. Yeah, so we started the conversation asking about the differences between preservation, conservation, and documentation. So go ahead.
Okay. Preservation expand this perspective and include conservation, but also context, meaning, accessibility, and transmission over time. Conservation focuses on the material dimension of heritage, mortars, pigment surfaces, structural stability. More or less, its objective is to stabilize and slow deterioration, and it operates directed on matter. Documentation is different in turn. Oh, okay. In turn, records heritage through photograph. In my case, photogrammetry, and these photographs take measurements, archival data, and digital models. In Mura in Motion, this project that I'm working in now, right now, documentation is a treat as a passive archive. It's become an active interpretative layer that enables analysis, comparison, and future reactivation. We have a mural heritage attached to the architecture, and it's necessary to understand architecture and murals in architectures. The murals without architecture is not the heritage in all of the essential data for us. I want to put some information about the starting point about this project. This project operates in the intersection of digital humanities, conservation restoration, architecture, history, and a social history. Digital preservation does not replace the traditional preservation. It's a complement, it's extended. Okay, the VR model as no neutral mirrors of the reality. They are constructed, representation shaped by methodological choices. Either value lies in making that interpretative process transparent. I think that is this the difference between traditional preservation and digital preservation. Okay, some are complement but are different because sometimes traditional preservation is more focuses in the physical artwork, and digital preservation is a posteriori intervention with some technological techniques or tools. I
Leticia, just to contextualize, because I asked this to Leticia, because I hear also people say, "Oh, the digital is not necessarily preservation; it's more documentation." So there in the field, there are people that divide in terms of opinion. So I also open up for people who are watching to post their opinions, what they think about, the differences between conservation, preservation, and documentation in their own practice, because it can be also different in what materials you're working on as well, in terms of if it's interactive, it can be more complex and so on. But I think, Leticia, you gave a very good and broad understanding, so thank you very much. So go ahead.
Okay. I want to go with the project in Portugal. Okay, the project focuses on 14 murals. Murals by Dordio Gomez is the artist that we are studying. And this is distributed across Porto in religious, civic, judicial, and commercial contexts. The aim was not to digitalize a single artwork, but to understand a dispersed mural network embedded in the city. It's important to translate to the people of the city of Porto that this kind of artwork exists. Okay, it's important to understand what is the context of that. The Church of the Immaculate Conception, for example, the Court of Justice, City Hall. City Hall have 4. The Church of the Redemptorist, the Café Rialto, that is maybe the most interesting muras in the corpus, because that's are existed over right now, but the context is different, but the beginning of this coffee, I digitalize an independent sketch 1 for 1, okay, meters, and total is 40 mural works, plus 1 preparatory study. And during fieldwork, in situ, photogrammetry was carried out using a non-invasive methodology adapted for each site conditions. The result was a set of calibrate points, clouds, and high-resolution model that allow material and spatial analysis. In this case, the word shade auto-shift but differ in function, okay, justice, church, religious, civil, ocean, and scale and accessibility and conservation state, because not all these murals have the same conservation state, and reading them as a corpus allows patterns, adaptation, and technical coherence to image across contexts. Okay, this is important too, because the goal was not to digitalize a single masterpiece, but to understand a mural practice. Okay, we had to understand how this was made, and why was made. Okay, this is the preparatory mural. Okay, the photogrammetry was in situ capture with high resolution model, no imaging methodology, because I haven't to put the camera beside, so close to the artwork. We had here point cloud of this mural. The rest of the mural has this point clouds too. And it's interesting because we are applying the same methodological framework across church, civil building, judicial spacing, and commercial interior, transform digital preservation into a comparative tools rather than a simple decorative device. Okay, so that is so many interesting. Here you can see the church on your right, the church of the Redemptorist. In your left, one of mural of the City Hall. Behind you have a one mural from Café Rialto. Behind your left, me capturing the murals of the church, the Immaculate Conception church in Oporto. Okay, in your right hand side you have the renders from the Rialto and the Justice Palace mural. Photogrammetric techniques enable to study of mortars, pigment, behavior of these pigment and mortars, and the artist surface microtopographies, execution traces, and the relationship between painting and architecture, and the digital models, function, and diagnostics instruments. You can see here analysis of a little piece of the preparatory model, mural, with some analysis of data about the point clouds, okay, and how some parts of this have some problems with the maintenance of the picture. And behind you can see the jornada, the journals of the artist, okay, with he works in paint every image in this complete configuration. Okay, this is so interesting because I can know, I can understand what pigments are good or well and right now or not, or we had to intervene to the mural to continue maintenance with like that, no? And here the relationship with the architectural support is so interesting también to hear, okay? And when the murals analyzing together, technical coherence and conceptual adaptation becomes visible. This systemic reader grounds the reconstruction phase methodological. You can see here this technical coherence of the artist, both the pigments or the journalists, etc., 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 and different kinds of model is adapting up the function in the space where it made. The Café Rialto concentrates the project's central tension. The mural survives materiality, but the space is inaccessible because now it's a BCP Millennium and it's a private space, and its social function, like a cafe, has disappeared, and is neither destroyed nor fully preserved, but the murals are in the space to see if the people have the spaces permit allow us to go and see them. Okay, I go to aquí. The three-dimensional reconstruction is framed explicitly as a special hypothesis, is repositioned the mural within their architectural sequences, and allow the testing of scale, visibility, and art circulation. Okay, because it is, without concept, we can lose of meaning of this mural, because it's important to know where there is. And I think we had to know these elements because the 3D reconstruction of Café Rialto have much about that because archival photographs at monochrome, and color cannot be directly decoded chromatic simulation, and therefore presented and provisional hypothesis passing of calibrates renders a documentary comparison of this corpus. The reconstruction is grounded in plans, photographs, while sourcing, and oral testimonies. Okay, behind do you have reconstruction and a spatial hypothesis, and in the of the slide you have a old photograph, original photograph from the spaces of the Café Rialto in mid of 20th century. Okay, and this is a tool for contextualization these murals.
Leticia, just to also comment about the spot, because I think the important aspect of your talk, and also it's not just for those working with murals, but to understand the whole process behind it. Because, well, I'm from the curatorial and research background. Other people that are watching are artists. The other people are working more directly with mediation and other fields. But it's all, you can see that the importance of this kind of conservation, you can see how important it is to have all of these expertise working together and understanding the whole process of what we are here for, which is to make art accessible, to make art, um, to people be able to experience art, and not just keep them closed in the vaults and so on. So we are all working together in the end for the same purpose. So I feel that it's important that we understand the work, for example, of your work and works of conservators, even if you're not a conservator, because then you understand that whatever you do to document it, or you're doing the exhibition and you need to also keep your documents, take your photographs, keep the material, as much materials as possible, because it will have someone in the future working like you're working, to conserve it, preserve it, for even longer time. So this is why I bring these kind of talks from people from different areas, because I think we're all working together in the end. And it's very important for us to understand what we can do to also help each other in the same process of making art accessible. So go ahead, sorry.
Okay, no problem. I want to explain a little bit what it's the by step process in this project, from the research, archive, documentation, photograph, etc. And the project involved in phases, obviously, archival research, obviously too, digital documentation, analytical testing, and spatial translation into each exhibition to the people. This exhibition states the research process itself rather than presenting a finished illusion. Okay, digital, we have, for example, okay, the planimetries. I try to reconstruct from the real planimetry, original planimetry, the building of the cafe, Rialto, and the interior, because it's so interesting to know too, for example, design the furniture of this coffee, try to offer more original view of the coffee when that space was a coffee and not a BCP Millennium. In this case, renders and camera path are used as analytical tool too. They allow us to study perception over time. Reconstruction mediates between technical research and collective memory. In this case, for example, this is a problem. The color, for example, of the files and the wall, etc., is difficult to know because the photographs are in black and white, and this is a hypothesis. It's a hypothetical color, and for this, it's important to tag shift for restoration to hypothesis testing. The objective of this is become defining what is known, what is uncertainly, and what remains open. Okay, this color is a level of hypothetical thing that we can know about the oral contribution of people that when they are younger were there and know this space. This is important too because I want to introduce a tool of artificial intelligence to design or interpret these elements, of the kind of elements. First of all, when color is missing, obviously, this is a problem, but we have some description in this brochure original brochure, and with that and with the photograph, we can more or less interpret what kind of material were used in these spaces. This is interesting because the IA, or the artificial intelligence, was used as a controlled tool to test chromatic and material scenarios derived strongly for documentation and expand visual possibilities, but interpretation remains human. Okay, we have to interpret what we are visualizing, and prompting, you can obtain some different hypotheses, but always is not a neutral interpretation. Is important. In the app of the slide, you can see the relief, original relief inside Café Rialto, and in its right is an image created by artificial intelligence. And in the down in the left, the same. That relief is created with artificial reality. And if you can see the other photograph, is the same process. Okay, the kitchen, and some view from the first floor of the cafe. This is so interesting for me, because you had to create some sketch from different furniture to, after that, reconstruct in 3D software. Okay. I also assisted in testing furniture morphology described in greater source, and these outputs were critically evaluated against archival architectural data. Okay, it's more interesting. I assisted experimentation followed strict parameters. Okay, because I is problematic sometimes, and systematic across checking. The aim was not fabricate the past, because we couldn't, and we needed, so that, but to widen the range of verifiable hypotheses regarding atmosphere, hierarchy, and spatial choreography of the spaces in this coffee, for example.
Leticia, sorry, which tool specifically did you use in this case? Do you remember?
ChatGPT. ChatGPT, prompting, yeah, and Copilot sometime too, because I like to experimenting with different AI. For now, ChatGPT work fine if you know how to prompt, and describe very well that what is your purpose to get this image. But for me is good, because that you have seen the images, more or less it looks like both.
Yeah.
I would like to say too that A is not a historical proof, obviously too, and does not authenticate the past. It generates possibilities that require critical evaluation, and responsibility always remains with the researchers. We had to know that we had a responsibility to the material and documentation and the images that used to offer this kind of research to make interpretation about spaces artwork. Okay, that is not.
I was just going to make a comment on that, because I think that's also very interesting, because as As a researcher, I also work a lot with photography of past exhibitions, for example, or text of curators and people telling the stories of the past of the exhibition. And then sometimes you also will see that it's not because we have this idea that even photography or the stories that people tell are true to reality, and they are not. So sometimes when they question artificial intelligence in the sense that, oh, it's not true to reality, it's not reproducing reality, but also people forget. People's memory can change over time over a fact, and they can distort reality and they can change reality as well. And photography as well is the same thing. Maybe because people think that it is grabbing exactly what it sees in front, but the color changes as well in terms of photography, especially early photography and so on. And there's a framing around it. There's a way of actually um, sometimes staging scenarios. And specifically for my research, I like to emphasize that because we need to present different sources and not one single sources. Specifically, when you talk about exhibitions, when we focus a lot on the discussions from the curator, but the curator had one specific view and it doesn't tell the whole story, doesn't tell the visitor story, doesn't tell anything that actually escaped that original plan.
Project.
And sometimes even documentation, like for archivists and conservators and so on, that that produce documentation. Sometimes that documentation doesn't present the whole story, so we have to have that in mind. Even with AI, it's not very different in that sense, right?
Yeah, the humanities and arts are subjective. This is a tool to not replacement the research. Only we had to put some input to the people that we think can create or rememorate some information to improve the model. Okay, in this 3D the reconstruction, we use some bad inputs to invite to the people to construct the final image.
Yeah.
This is important because the color is so interesting to get these things. In the exhibition, we will put a book to get the people who visit the exposition write about how they remember this space, to take this information and put this in the 3D reconstruction spaces and improve this kind of file. No, is this Simon Dunn transduction theory about the memory, about how the people complete, or Humberto Eco, La Obra Abierta, open source. The artwork always have so many levels of significance, and we can construct about this. Never is complete, and always we can improve better this kind of files, no, files of information, or researching, or digital documentation. No, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
During the I want to speak about roundtables that was the last year about this project. During this roundtable, we formed visitor, embodied memories of atmosphere, light, and social ritual emerges. Okay, we have some relates from people that knows Café Rialto in the mid of 20th century, and this recollection did not replace the research by complete this research. They interacted with it, but this is our objective. The main, not the goal of this project is create a connection with the citizens of Porto, and about oral accounts, affective memory, the subjective of this remembering, no? is so important, and the social practice of the Café Rialto. Okay, this is important because Café Rialto was a important space in these times. So really interesting from the point of view of Dordio Gomez and how he puts her style in the murals. This is the same that I said before. The reconstruction, therefore, operates between technical analysis and lived memory. It's become a mediating file where data and recollection coexist. Okay, coexist without collapsing into a single authoritative narrative. I'm curator, but I know I want to impose a narrative. I need to know how works this kind of spaces using the collaborate expression from the citizens and other people who knows this space, no? And this is the traduction process to evolution archive. No, the archive is not static; it's dynamic. Okay. And through this calibrated modeling, we analyze, highlight, material, reflectivity, and proportions shape social experience. The goal is not a perfect simulation because that is impossible, but yes, I have a critical visibility from these people. Here, if you can see so many views from Café Rialto, for original photographies, IA, 3D reconstruction, a traceability from the I don't know how in English, the title of Rialto, the letters, and behind, yeah, and behind you have, you can see, for example, the two murals from Rialto, the rendering, like it look like a photograph too in color, and next to it, you have, for example, the model, the 3D model, photogrammetric model, point cloud, and after that, the retroprological to use like a material documentation. Okay, and in the your right hand side, you have the catalog. The catalog is open for everyone. Okay, if you want, after that, I can put the link or the QR,
Yeah.
okay, to download the catalog. And it's a collective remembrance. It's a collective project, really. Okay, it's so beautiful to work with people in that. I had to say the project can be summarized through three axes: visibility, knowledge, and responsibility. Okay, the exhibition foregrounds process from clouds, archival documents, renders, tests, color studies will be in the exhibition. Visitor enter and research structure rather than an immersive spectacle. Modern mural heritage is often located in restricted area site in such conditions and invisibility risk. Rather ensures critical digital reconstruction become a strategy against disappearance. Okay, this is important too because some people don't know that this mural exists. Okay, that is so sad because it's part of the social history, cultural from the city, and it's a treasure. It's a treasure. In this context, the conservation restaurant becomes a mediator between material evidence, digital reconstruction, memory, and digital tools that span possibilities but demands interpretative possibilities. Okay, but this is important for us because this is the QR
code,
to download the catalog. And for that, I say to the three axes of our project, okay, what is the visibility of this mural, knowledge, to construct knowledge, and responsibility, because digital reconstruction is neither neutral nor automatic, but it is curated, argued, and explicitly provisional. Okay, it's provisional and it's complete. Go ahead with the interpretation and oral collective from people. Okay, and this is a group, a team project. For to finish, there are digital heritage. Okay, in conclusion, what is it? In conclusion, digital heritage is not about perfect simulation. Is it about making visible what is inaccessible for the people, and reopening conversation around these spaces that remain alive in collective memory. The reconstruction of the Café Rialto, for example, is not definitive image of the past, but is an invitation to remember, to question, and to participate. I would like to warmly invite to you visit the exhibition in Porto, where the outcomes in mural in motion and presented through digital reconstruction, archival materials, visual narratives that reconnect the mural with the original architectural and social context. And the exhibition will open from tomorrow, okay, from tomorrow to the 2nd of May. 2nd of May at the exhibition pavilion, the Faculty of Fine Arts of the University of Porto. And admission is free. This is important too. Free for all people. Okay, you don't have to pay anything, because this is a project that want to
Make it accessible.
yeah, accessible, and offer this information to construct this knowledge. Okay, and if you want to like to contact me or arrange a visit, you can reach me at my my contact email. Is in the screen. For further information about the project, the final slide, you can see the website project. And additional details, you can open the website. You have the information about the project, so many murals and different events linked to the project. Yeah. Thank you very much, Leah, for this invitation.
Thank you so much, Leticia.
I thank you for attention, and to stand me, because my English is horrible. Okay, I think I hope you understand anything that I will be explaining during the presentation.
No, and everyone, if anyone wants to pose questions, if they have questions at the moment, they can do it on the chat. But I want to thank you first. Thank you, Leticia. That was very nice. I understood perfectly, but I think what would be nice if you zoom a little bit your contact information, because I think it's quite small. I don't know if anyone can see it. And also, if you can go back to the QR code, I think it would be nice for people to access that directly.
Okay.
And I was also going to ask then, until when does the exhibition? So it starts tomorrow and it goes until which date?
Start tomorrow and go to until 2nd of May.
Okay, 2nd of May. And does the project continue after that, or is the exhibition the final element for now? Because you talked about the whole talk was really about how this process is iterative. So we are always expanding on history and expanding on this kind of preservation practice, digital preservation. It's about that. This is, like you said, like in conclusion, we're always we are always adding to it and expanding it, and sometimes correcting it, going back. But we always think about this. There's a point that for our projects we need to put an end. So is the exhibition the end of your project, or will you do more related to it?
No, this exhibition is only a result, the final result, but we are going to make some more things about that. We had to take some information to improve the reconstruction. I think this is an exploratory project. We would like to go to a 50 for 3 years, but it's really complicated. It's competitive project. But we had to have so many events, congress. There are a congress in March linked to this project. The information is in the web too, and I can send you if you want to put in your newsletter if you want. It's interesting because it's so linked to this information that we explained during the presentation. And there is 10 or 11 communications. Okay, this is interesting to go.
And in Portuguese.
Yeah, in Portuguese. I think that maybe too in English. I don't know. In Spanish, not.
Okay.
In Spanish, not. Is here in Porto, case presential, but I think it's possible to make an streaming session. I can. I had to speak with Begoña. Begoña is my partner. Okay, the co-PI in this project. I think it's interesting. We had to go more and keep more elements for this project, and I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. It seems very interesting, and I hope you can expand it further in other directions as well. So I would invite, if no one that's watching us have any questions to pose, and see that people are online but very shy, I would say contact Leticia if you have any questions after this talk. And also, if you're not following the PdBA already, do follow us, and I will try to do like a special post on this talk, and I'll add the links as well to the projects that you can follow. And we will also try to. I'm following Leticia, and if you don't follow Leticia for the academic part, the research part, follow her for her stories that are hilarious. I am I love it. And also I will try to share whatever you share as well in terms of what's coming up of the exhibition and the research, and keep people updated. But anyway, so thank you very much for this talk, Leticia. And I have to say as well before we go that we have a few other talks coming up. If you're interested, check our program in our social media as well, in our platforms. Sign up for the newsletter. You can get the information up to date. And that this program of 2026, the Invisible Infrastructure, is supported and funded by DG Artes, which is the National Directory of the Arts of Portugal. So we thank them very much for making this possible, and to be able to invite Leticia and much more, and to make this, again, like your project, accessible and free and for all. So this is why we do this as well. Thank you so much for your contribution, Leticia. Thank
Thank you.
everyone who is watching. And yeah, Leticia, do you have any last goodbyes and thank yous?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.